G'day amigos, Carlos Alberto Diego here from the 40 Agos, and welcome to Carlos and Warren's Great Football Debate. Topic today, Warren, Tim Cahill is the best player Australia's ever produced. You're a for and I'm against.
That's it, Carlos. You're on the wrong side again. And thanks for all those fans last week who got back to us giving me 1-0 against Carlos with regards to this. Now, Carlos, this is a no-brainer. The first Australian to score at a World Cup. The thing I like about Tim Cahill too is he's exciting, but he's improved at every level. He's not a starlet that's hit the big screen like a Harry Cahill or a Mark Viduka, only to fade away. Tim Cahill's just kept going and going and going and improving throughout his career.
Big problem you've got is that he's not Australian, he's Samoan. He actually played for Samoa as a 14-year-old. He was tied to them for 11 years. Lucky to play for Australia. So that's the first thing. By the way, I don't want to have a crack at Tim Cahill. He's a good guy, and I love the guy. But for me, to be the best player we've ever produced, not only do you have to be a very, very good player with the Socceroos, which he is, not only do you have to be a very, very good player for an English Premier League or a European club, which he is, but you have to have won things over in Europe, the heartland of football, or in South America, where football matters. Now, Tim Cahill, the only thing he's ever won was a championship with Millwall coming out of the second division. Now that's kissing your sister, Warren.
Oh, Carlos, again, you're misreading the situation. We're talking about the quality of the player. Oceania Player of the Year, Everton's Player of the Year, Oceania Player of the Year, the PFA Player of the Year. The list goes on and on. And by the way, Samoa, they're in the bosom of Australasia.
He's done it with a pub team. You do it with a pub team, it's mediocrity. You can play any way you want, you still be the best player. For me, let's go through some of the list of the people, of the legends of football in Australia that you've insulted with this declaration that Tim Cahill is the best player we've ever produced. Let's go through Harry Cahill. Let's put aside for a minute the FA Youth Cup he won with Leeds United. But he's won a European Cup or a Champions League with Liverpool. He's won an FA Cup with Liverpool. He won a Super Cup. I know it's kissing his sister in Turkey, but it's a cup in Turkey with Galatasaray. Let's go to Craig Johnston. Now, my heart melts with Craig Johnston. 5 First Division titles in the 80s with Liverpool.
Never played for Australia, Carlos.
Doesn't matter.
Chose not to.
Doesn't matter because he's won an FA Cup. He's won multiple Kissing His Sister Cups in England. Won a Charity Shield. The guy is a legend. Won a European Cup. When the European Cup was tough to win in the 80s. Ned Zalic won the Bundesliga competition. He even won something in Georgia with Dinamo Tbilisi. He won a cup over there.
Is this rehearsed, Carlos?
No, it's not rehearsed at all. This is just coming off the top of my head because these guys are champions and they're way above Tim Cahill. And again, I'm not having to go at Tim Cahill.
No, you are. I think you are. I think you are.
Tim Cahill is one of the best players we've ever produced, but he's not the best because he's not won anything of significance with the team in a good competition overseas. And let me just throw another one before I throw back to you. Mark Viduka. Not only has he won things with Melbourne Knights, but also he's won cups with Croatia Zagreb in Croatia. He's won Kissing His Sister Cups over there too in Croatia. And also he's won League Cup with Celtic. These guys win things in good competitions. That means they're playing in good sides, Warren. There's no mediocrity. They've got to be their best every time. And for me, Tim Cahill, good player, but not the best we have ever produced.
You have heard of something that's the World Cup, haven't you, Carlos? Tim Cahill, first ever Australian to score, got our first win in the World Cup. He's been prepared to come back and play for Australia in World Cup qualifiers. 24 goals in 55 appearances for the Socceroos. He scores for fun, Carlos. Clearly the best Socceroo.
Is it?
And for me, the best Socceroo is clearly the best player because that is the elite stage. Forget kissing your sister. I actually want to see him score goals in the real competition, and that's what he does. And he's kept improving, Carlos. Kept improving. Harry Cahill, starlet, burnt out. Craig Johnston, starlet, burnt out. Ned Zalic, starlet. Where is he now? Mark Viduka.
They're all 45 years old. They're all finished their careers. Tim Cahill's still playing. And let me just talk about the metatarsal. The metatarsal's putting him out, where Harry Cahill had a problem with his groin. Tim Cahill's been a victim of the metatarsal. And you use goals as a criteria? Well, Damien Murray, love Damien Murray, but he's certainly not one of our greats. He scored 29 goals in 45 games at a better ratio and a better rate than Tim Cahill. So by any measure, Warren, Tim Cahill is not the best player we've ever produced, and there's plenty more before him. And that's with apologies with the like of Craig Moore, Mark Schwarzer. Mark Schwarzer's won a Kissing His Sister League Cup with...
Doesn't score many goals, Mark Schwarzer.
Yeah, well, that's not a criteria for me, because suddenly you've cut out 3/4 of the players who've ever played for Australia, and that is bias by doing that.
It's about loyalty. It's about effort. It's about improvement. He's come from the bosom of Samoa to represent Australia, to be Everton clearly. And this is one thing, Carlos, that you refuse to acknowledge. If there was a first 11 and a second 11 and a third 11 in the Premier League right now, Tim Cahill at his best would not only make, well, he might make the first 11, but he'd definitely make the second 11. Pound for pound, the best header in the Premier League. I'm not talking about courage, guts, determinations and metatarsals. I'm talking about quality goals with feet, with head, loyalty, improvement. He's got everything.
The question mark is, if he ever played with a good team, would he get the same joy he does now as far as the accolades and also as far as the recognition of being one player in the English Premier League who's one of the greatest? I don't believe so. Love you, Tim Cahill, but at this point in time, you aren't the best player we've ever produced. Many more ahead of you. If you want to join in the conversation with the Diegos, I know I've won this one. Warren reckons he's won it, but I reckon I've won it. But why don't you get in touch with us? Join the conversation, twitter.com/40agos, or email us at 40agos@bigpond.com. Warren, you've lost this one like you lost the other one.
2-0, Carlos.
I cannot wait for the feedback from the fans. But until next week,
Olé!